nerderotic.com.
Welcome back to Nerderotic. My name is Gary Beekler, and I come to you from nerderotic.com, and we are finally here to talk about Doctor Who. I put this video off for a couple days due to the Star Trek Discovery kerfuffle, then the Rotten Tomatoes kerfuffle, then the Captain Marvel kerfuffle, which is all the same kerfuffle that's going on with Doctor Who. The injection of agenda, personal politics, political correctness, and feminism into our favorite franchises. These franchises that weren't these things before. They are changing them fundamentally, and I am here to tell you the obvious. It is okay to not like this. It is perfectly okay to not like the Doctor being female. It is perfectly okay to not like Disney's marketing of Captain Marvel or that god-awful Star Trek Discovery, just as it is okay for you to like it. I don't mind if you do. This isn't a personal attack on you, although some of you in the comment sections might feel that way. It really isn't. It is okay to feel how you feel. I like a lot of crap. I love Con Air. But the access media and their constant assault on fans through Rotten Tomatoes, through other actors, and basically creating an environment of official speech is getting a little tired and a little disturbing, to say the least. That's why it is very refreshing, even if it's in consideration, to hear Alex Kingston say what she said about Doctor Who. It is nice to hear that. It's also what Peter Davidson said, and he got almost crucified for it. Let's go to Digital Spy. Doctor Who's Alex Kingston admits she was originally conflicted about Jodie Whittaker's casting. I just thought, all those little boys, how are they going to handle it? Now, I got to see the context of that little comment there before I comment on it. Usually I like to throw in something snarky before that, but I happen to like Alex Kingston quite a bit. The River Song character, I'll get to that. Doctor Who star Alex Kingston has revealed her initial reservations following Jodie Whittaker's casting as the Doctor. They happen to be the same as mine, by the way. The Broadchurch actress took over the role from Peter Capaldi with her first full series as the iconic character, airing in late 2018. Speaking to Philip Schofield and Holly Willoughby on This Morning, her initial reaction to the first female Doctor. Everybody swig away. To be honest, at first I was a little conflicted because I just thought, all those little boys, how are they going to handle it? But then I thought when Peter Capaldi played the Doctor, I thought, oh my gosh, how are those young kids going to be able to relate to, sorry Peter, somebody who could be their grandfather? But they all totally embraced him, and it's because he is the Doctor and Jodie is the Doctor, because it's the same spirit inside, so it doesn't matter. That's where I disagree with Alex Kingston. It does matter. It absolutely does matter. And this is the thing that doesn't get talked about enough, because you're not supposed to talk about it. It makes you a bad person to talk about it. I like the Doctor as a male character. That's what I'm interested in. I am not interested in seeing the Doctor as a female character. I am just merely covering its demise right now. It is not anything I'm going to pay for, and I think they have ruined the show, and they have fundamentally changed it and made it into a different show. No, I am not a sexist for thinking about that. If I was a sexist and a misogynist, I wouldn't like Doctor Who. I would love to see a female Time Lord, a different character in a different show. I would watch the hell out of it. I've said it before. But that's not what they wanted to do. They wanted to make a point. And they felt emboldened enough to do this because if anybody talks against it, they can just dismiss that person as a sexist and a misogynist. And I think it's right for Alex Kingston to have that reservation, and I think it was a valid one. Peter Davidson also brought it up. Doctor Who casting Time Lords clash over loss of role model for boys. Peter Davidson says Jodie Whittaker removes vitally important hero for boys, but Colin Baker says he is talking absolute rubbish. Well, I can make an argument that Colin Baker was the first female Doctor. I'm just kidding. I am just kidding. Peter Davison, a former star of Doctor Who, has lamented the loss of a role model for boys after the part of the Doctor was given to a female actor for the first time. Jodie Whittaker was revealed on Sunday as the 13th Doctor in a move largely praised, but which left some infuriated. Among those who have criticized the casting is Davison, who played the Fifth Doctor. Speaking before an appearance at Comic-Con in San Diego, Davison said Whittaker, 35, was a terrific actress who would do a wonderful job, but that he hoped those who found it hard to adjust would just watch with an open mind. But the 66-year-old told the Press Association, "If I feel any doubts, it's the loss of a role model for boys, who I think Doctor Who is vitally important for, as I do. So I feel a bit sad about that. But I understand the argument that you need to open it up. As a viewer, I kind of like the idea of the Doctor as a boy, but then maybe I'm an old-fashioned dinosaur. Who knows? That is a man worried about his legacy as Doctor Who and worried about the legacy overall of this show. He still probably relies on some Doctor Who income, whether it be residuals from the show, I don't know how the contracts work, or going to conventions and getting money. And if you have a fan base that is eroding because you change the fundamentals of this show, you make it a completely different show with a completely different fan base, it affects everything. Merchandise, Blu-ray sales, convention autograph sales, people going to see him. And that, when the show was still interesting and out there, it meant a lot for him and the other former Doctors. And I know what they say publicly, but that had to be a concern, and it will be down the road. We already see signs of the fan base dying, Doctor Who dying. It's just not as popular as it once was. That was even before Jodie got here, like I talked about, even with Capaldi's casting. When they brought Doctor Who back, it was a younger Doctor, a faster Doctor, but he still used his brain. And then when they start injecting a bunch of political crap in this, and God, this argument is so tired. The Doctor Who has always been political. No, it has not. Doctor Who has had morality tales told through allegory, but that is not politics. That is not personal ideology. That is not agenda. That is just something that's the kind of stories science fiction tells. Star Trek was the best at this. Doctor Who was the best at this. It used to be tales of wonder and insanity and mind over matter. That's why it was such a good show for boys. To show that you don't have to use strength, you don't have to use your fists, you don't have to use guns. You can outthink somebody. You can outwit somebody. That was what Doctor Who was the absolute best at. And that's what he's talking about. Now, I hear it doesn't matter. A boy should be able to look up to a woman. Absolutely. I totally agree with that. This is where Baker chimes in. More on him later. They've had 50 years of having a role model. So sorry, Peter, you're talking rubbish there. Absolute rubbish, he said. You don't have to be of a gender of someone to be a role model. Again, I totally agree. Can't you be a role model as people? Again, I agree. Baker also said he hoped to see a non-white Doctor in the future. Well, actually, that's what I was kind of hoping for. Kind of interesting that they chose another white Doctor, and that the series should look to America, where he feels casting is less dependent on color. They see a future world where that is irrelevant, and it's perhaps time Doctor Who and its fans did too. He added, I totally agree with the possible first female Doctor. I'm just kidding. I absolutely agree. For one, Colin Baker is all for Jodie Whittaker because now he is no longer the worst Doctor. We have to admit that. And I have been maintaining that it is irrelevant. If it's so irrelevant, using your logic, why was it so important to change the Doctor to a female? In his own words, they've had 50 years. The boys have had 50 years. Your time is up, boys, because we're too lazy to create a new character. So we're going to take something away from you and give it to the girls. And that's exactly what happened. But this show has been led by a male for 55 plus years. Men and women are different. You just have simply a woman playing a man's role. And they really just barely went over it. If you wanted to get serious about the Doctor changing into a female, you would have to spend an entire season of just figuring out the physiology. Now, I know the first article is from 3 weeks ago and the other one is from well over a year ago, but this is a makeup video, well, in more ways than one. I've been promising it for over a couple weeks now, but this is really the video I should have made first, because it is okay to say you don't like the Doctor as a female. It doesn't make you a bad person or a sexist. And if there's anything that I can accomplish here is making it okay to say that. You can't judge somebody on their entire life based on what they think the gender should be of a character of a show they have supported, I have supported for decades. Completely ignoring your fan base, or worse yet, guilting your fan base into silence, is no way to endear yourself to your core fans, who you are losing every day. Of course, I know some are still on board because some people will just take whatever you give them. That is fine. I'm not really here talking to you, and I don't see a lot of you talking to me. I am talking to the fans who have come here, who have come to other channels, united in critical dissent of this show, united in a place where they won't be called sexist and misogynist, and they can continue coming here. And I bet you the numbers are a little surprising to you. They were to me, and I was very pleasantly surprised. You have weaponized actors, actresses, the access media, trying to shame us into silence. And I'm just saying, bring it on and good luck. Role models or not, little boys, little girls, men and women have lost a male character to root for in place of a political statement that nobody really wants to root for at all.
Nerderotic.com. Please subscribe.